How will these teams disappoint us this time?
If it's not this year, then when is it gonna be? When is it gonna be our year?
All right, everybody. Welcome back. It is another episode of From the Pocket coming at you on a Thursday. I'm Jake. Over there is Christian, right-hand man. Christian, tell the people how you doing today. What's going on with you?
Not too bad. Can't complain. Just
Love that.
Getting through the week.
So, Christian, we're talking the AFC North today. We got 4 teams here. Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. Yeah, well, it depends. Well, I'm interested to see which 2 teams you pick. We obviously know one, but we'll talk about that. But, Christian, before we dive in, quick housekeeping we do at the top of every episode. Number 1, we are not doing predictions. As we've already talked about, predictions will be the Monday before the season kicks off. We're just talking about each team, their off-season, and what their prospects are. And number 2, second point of order, we are doing sleepers this year. We're picking a sleeper in each conference. I have picked both my sleepers. And Christian, you have already picked your AFC sleeper. Haven't declared officially an NFC sleeper yet. But, we still have another division, so we'll see. But you picked the Jaguars for the AFC. I picked the Broncos, so no more sleepers are coming out of this division. Really have no interest in picking a sleeper in this division. No offense to any fans of these teams. But without further ado, Christian, are you ready to talk about the AFC North?
Hell yeah.
All right. Point of order. I'm trying to come up with themes for every one of these divisions, and I thought long and hard about this one, and I figured it out, Christian. You ready to hear the theme for this division?
Yeah, I got themes for each team in this division, but not an overall theme.
Okay, I dig that.
I would love to hear yours.
My theme is, how will these teams disappoint us this time? How will they do it? Because they all do it. The Ravens never live up to their billing. Super Bowl perennial team, best team in the league possibly, and they're getting bounced to the divisional by a team that they blew out in the regular season. They're getting beaten in the AFC Championship against a team that they should beat. The Bengals missing the playoffs with an all-time talent in Joe Burrow, despite him putting up MVP numbers. The Browns, I don't, And the Steelers, perennially 9-8, 10-7, and just never putting the car into gear, just always staying in neutral. So, we can go ahead and start. It's only fair with the Baltimore Ravens. They won the division last year, so they've earned the right. Christian, answer me this question. I have a question for you to kick this off. I need you to tell me, how am I so depressed about a team this good?
And Jake, I'll hit you with the Uno reverse and ask you a question. They don't meet expectations this year. What do you see in 2026? Are we making a big coaching change? I know that's not the biggest talking point about the Ravens. John Harbaugh is him, and I think Mike Tomlin are the longest tenured head coaches in the league at this point. And, like you just said, this team has been the cream of the crop each year. And, they've just been disappointing, like, at the end of the season. Like, Lamar, 2-time, probably should have been a 3-time MVP. We don't have to argue about that. And, yeah, they come up short in the playoffs. So, like, do you see a coaching change if they at least don't reach the AFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl?
It's tough. This gets into this weird thing where it's like, it depends on how they lose, right? Like, I think there's just a consensus. Nobody's getting fired if you lose to the Chiefs. We've seen Sean McDermott lose to the Chiefs literally 4 times, and they're just like,
hey, that's another talking point. We could talk about the Bills too when that comes up.
For sure. And I know there were talks about maybe Sean McDermott was on the hot seat, but it's so hard to imagine them letting go of John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh to me is an elite coach. Like, I love John Harbaugh. He's been their coach since 2008. He's been there almost 20 years, which is hard to believe. I remember when he was a first-year coach with rookie Joe Flacco. But, he's won a Super Bowl. He has, outside of a couple of years there with Joe Flacco post-Super Bowl, he's in the playoffs every single year. And even when Lamar was hurt a couple of years ago at the end of those couple of seasons, he was still pushing for the playoffs. He got in once. And it gave the Bengals a run for their money in a wild card game. So it's the question to me is like, okay, you can move off of him. You can say maybe it's time for a change. Maybe we just need a new voice. It's not that we think you're a bad coach. But my question is like, who are you going to get that's better than him? And that's always what it is. Who are we going to bring in? Because if you're getting rid of John Harbaugh, I mean, John Harbaugh minimum, if you want to be an asshole, he's a top 8 coach. So are you going to get a coach better than the 8th best coach in the NFL? Probably not. So I probably wouldn't. I mean, this team is always going to be good. They're always going to have a chance. And anytime you have John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson, like, that's probably your best bet at winning a Super Bowl, even if it doesn't happen. But, I mean, I hear you. Like, it's frustrating. And if you're a Ravens fan, and I love the Ravens I kind of consider them my AFC team. I've always loved the Ravens. I've always respected them as an organization. It's tough, but I just don't see what the move is post John Harbaugh if you move off of him.
Well said. And for your question about how they'll disappoint us this season, right?
Sure.
I mean, I don't know, dude. It's just, like you said, it's tough because, like, in a lot of metrics, this team is graded as one of, like, ESPN, like, this is the best roster in the league. Brett Coleman in his podcast talked about it, I think, last year and this year, to how they ranked their teams. I think number 1 or number 2 last year, and they were number 1 this year, or last year. And so it's just tough. And I do wonder, like, how long – this feels like the 49ers when we were talking about them, was it 2 years ago? Because I don't think we were talking about it last year. If not now, then when? When is this going to happen? When are they going to break through? Because – this roster is really good, and they're not going to be able to, like, sooner or later, like, the kingdom will fall, and you're going to have to rebuild and retool. But right now, like, this team is so good, top to bottom now. Weapons on the receiving side, I think, are not great, but, you know, they have an MVP quarterback, so they're always going to be in contention, but yeah, it's just tough when looking at this team because they just can't get over the hump. What was it? Like, Lamar had, was it like 5 interceptions? 4. Had 4 interceptions the entire year. And then we get into the playoff game and he throws 2 in the first half. Now he did a good job in that second half and bringing them back. Mark Andrews drops that 2-point conversion, right? And, like, that's unfortunate, but you know, Lamar did get him into that hole there early. And then we go to looking through their season. They went 0-2. Now, losing to the Chiefs week 1. Like,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. Isaiah Likely's toe was just out of bounds. I'm not saying they would have won that game, but could have looked a little different. And then you lose week 2 to the Raiders.
That's the one.
That is the one that hurts. Cleveland in week 8, losing to them. Like, I think that also hurts them. So, I mean, this team could have been a higher seed. So it's just it's tough because, like you said, this is such a great organization and this team's very, very good. And I expect them to be very, very good in this upcoming season.
Of course.
It's just tough. It's just tough. And I can't imagine, like, if they go and Lamar has another amazing season. You know, defensively, they're stepping up. They're playing Baltimore defense, and they're still good. I mean, their coaching staff is great. Todd Monken, I love what he does with the offense there. Does a great job in the first half, setting up the defense how he wants to, and then counter-punching them in the second half, like their run schemes and all that. So,
yeah. No, and I mean, I love that you brought that up because, I mean, Derrick Henry was such a revelation for them. And really, I mean, again, this team was right there. The biggest issue for this team was their secondary, especially in the first half of the year. I drew up some stats right here.
Yeah, I do not know how they let this go on for as long as they did.
It went on for a while, and you look at, so this is their first, I should have written it down. I'm an idiot, but this was their first 9 weeks, I believe, or their first 9 games. Might have been 8, but either way, you get it. It's the first half. In the first half of the season, they were tied second most for passing touchdowns given up. They were tied with Cincinnati, for those of y'all keeping track. Cincinnati, that stellar defense that they're fielding in Cincinnati. They were 19th in completion percentage. You go, That's not great. It's below average. That's as good as it gets. They were 31st in yards given up. They were 26th in passer rating given up, and they were dead last in yards per completion at 13.1. Second half, which, okay, I guess they changed Ardarius Washington. They put him out there. They finally moved Kyle Hamilton from where he predominantly played in the slot, and they put him back there at free safety.
What a revelation.
Took out Eddie Jackson, took out Marcus Williams, said, y'all are not allowed to be Baltimore Ravens anymore in this capacity. Please find the door. Second half of the season, they were tied in second for touchdowns, so still not great. Second most touchdowns given up, but sixth in yards given up. So from 31st to 6th, they were the best in passer rating given up in the back half. So from 26th to 1st. And they were third in completion percentage. So from 19th to 1st. So definitely a tale of two halves for this secondary. And as we said, letting Ardarius Washington play back there with Kyle Hamilton was the difference. Unfortunately, Ardarius Washington is likely going to miss the entire season with a torn Achilles.
Oh, man. Yeah, because they was such a revelation for him because he was undrafted, right?
Yeah. And it's a shame that he's not going to get to play. So, I'm not saying they're going to be bailing water. I'm sure they have a little bit better of a plan this time. Hopefully, even if it doesn't work, it doesn't take them 10 weeks to figure that out. But I digress. It's promising that I think now that they know that info, you have Zach Orr going into his second year as their coordinator. I think
been fired.
He really could have, but he turned it around in the back half, and now you got to hope they can just go into this season saying, okay, now we understand how this is going to work. We're a lot better. And they still went 12-5. It's not like it was like a 9-8 season and they're like, but when you're playing at their level, that 1 or 2 games can make a huge difference.
Especially in the AFC where it's a tie race.
So, I like their odds there, but I want to talk about the offseason really quick. Christian, do you want to go into their offseason and tell me what your thoughts were?
Yeah, so they brought in DeAndre Hopkins, $5 million. Not too bad. I mean, like I said, this receiving core isn't, amazing. We're still waiting for the Rashad Bateman
he had a pretty good year last year, but it was not a breakout year.
It's not what they...
He had 9 touchdowns. That was promising, but 750 yards.
I like D-Hop. He can probably still be decent to a good receiver. I like Zay Flowers. I know he's not like amazing, but I like him as a guy to take the top off the defense. Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. I like that duo. It's kind of sad seeing Mark Andrews kind of being at the end of his career, but I would really like Isaiah Likely. I think he was dealing with an injury a couple weeks ago. Don't know if he'll be back just yet. But brought in Cowboys legend Cooper Rush.
Legend.
For
all-time Cowboy.
$3.10 million. Chidobe Awuzie. Cornerback depth there. I like Awuzie. I think he's a pretty solid. I mean, offensively, and they're bringing back Todd Monken. So I think offensively, they're still going to be pretty good. Lamar had an MVP type season last year. Probably should have won it, but
I think so.
It is what it is. And then Derrick Henry had a phenomenal year last year. Don't know how much production he's going to give you, but I still think he'll still give you like a good bit production there. Yeah, offensively, they're going to be good. It's just they got a tough schedule. Can they get over the hump? Week 1, Sunday night. We get on the road against Buffalo. So we're gonna be excited about that. They play Kansas City, play the Detroit, Rams, Houston, Bengals twice, Steelers twice.
It's a tough schedule, but also, this is the team. This is the same team that they perpetually are blowing out playoff teams at home. It's really like. It's always a tough schedule, but it's always like, but we're probably going to blow out the Bills week 1. Yeah, when the Lions come to town, we're probably going to beat them like 38-17 or something. That's just what they do. So, tough schedule or not, like this team is among the elite of the elite of the. Again, they might have the best roster in the NFL. They are on the short list for that.
People say that. ESPN says that.
Yeah, I mean, I would back it as well. And I mean, even you look defensively. We talked about their struggles defensively, but they did bring in Jair Alexander, who I don't understand why everybody's as down on Jair as they are. He's only, I think he's 28 years old.
I forgot they traded for him.
Yeah, and
I mean, he's not the Jair, who got that big contract like 2019, wherever he got it 2020. But I still think he'll be solid. I think he'll be motivated.
I do too, and I mean, there is something about when you can, no knock on the Packers secondary. It's a decent secondary, but when you're lining up against Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins, and you have Kyle Hamilton back there helping you, and they've just drafted Malachi Starks. I mean, this is, every time we've talked about elite secondaries, we've said the Ravens' name. This is a top 3 secondary in the league. So, is Jair maybe a little older? Is he maybe a little past his prime? That's what a lot of people think. So I still think he's got at least a year or two left in the tank of maybe his prime window. But I think just being around a more talented group of players, I think that will bring out a lot from him that we maybe haven't seen in maybe a year or two. So
and
I'm
optimistic. Think putting on that black or that purple and other colors, purple, black. I think that does say something.
I mean, and you look
that
fly.
Means something.
Deion said it. You gotta. What is it? You look good. You feel good. You feel good. You play good. You play good. They pay good. So. And then really quick, I did want to talk about their defensive line as well. Last year, best team at stopping the run, as they have been. They, little fun, interesting fact here, they were first in yards per attempt last year. And they were first in total rush defense by more than 200 yards. I mean, they blew everybody out.
Could not run on them.
Well, no, and I think I can't remember the stat. I think I saw it here. I wrote it down somewhere. But either way, 3 of the last 4 years, they have been in the top 3 in run stopping. So, I mean, this is 2023, they were not good. It was a weird year. But every other year outside of that, they have just been lights out at stopping the run. So I expect that to continue. Nnamdi Madubuike, I mean, he's still back there. He's dope. Travis Jones doesn't get a lot of sacks, but you watch the Ravens. He is a disruptor. He is a real disruptor. Go put on some Travis Jones tape. Sacks, the data says they're probably taking a step back on sacks. They had 54 last year, second in the league, but a poor pressure rate probably means you're going to see some of that regression unless they can get their pressure rate up. If they get their pressure rate up, then yeah, we're cooking with Crisco now. But they did have Kyle Van Noy and Odafe Owe. They ended up with double-digit sacks apiece. So, I mean, they got dudes. But yeah, and then obviously Roquan Smith was really good, but the other linebacker Trenton Simpson was not very good, particularly in coverage. So all in all, I mean, look, you're talking about, hey, we'd like to get to the quarterback a little more consistently. We're still getting sacks, and we'd like our second linebacker to be a little better. I mean, you're a really good team. You're a really good team. I mean, you're nitpicking at this point. Considering some of the teams we're about to talk about in a little bit, that's nitpicking. So, Christian, with that in mind, we can go ahead and transition. This team has done it again. They are fielding an elite level roster. They've had some turnover, but they filled the holes. They have great coaching. They have one of the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL. They got Derrick Henry running behind him, which is a matchup nightmare. What is their ceiling and what is their floor?
I mean, their ceiling should be the Super Bowl. That's just what it is. We go into every year is is this the year they do it? Is this the year they're going to do it? So, yeah, their ceiling, I think anything less than a Super Bowl appearance is a disappointing season for them. For the win total, it's at 11.5 projected wins. I'd probably stay away from that, but yeah, I think this is their range, 12-5, 13-4, what they did in 2023. So maybe around there. So yeah, 13-4, 12-5. Probably aiming for that 13-4 because 13-4 or 14-2 or 14-3, then you're looking at number 1 to 2 in the playoff rankings there. So they got a tough get, but yeah, I think if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, like if it's not this year, then when is it gonna be? When is it gonna be our year?
I mean, it's so tough to say that because it's felt like they've been in that window for 2-3 years now. I mean, it's just been like, if not now, then when? I mean, we're talking about they have fielded historically good teams, and they just can't get over that hump. And I mean, I agree with you. Like, it's their ceiling is the Super Bowl, and that's the only thing that will satisfy everybody. I mean, AFC Championship, you get back. It doesn't matter how you lose in the AFC Championship.
But yeah.
I mean, you could lose in overtime in a heartbreaking close game where they beat you, by miracle maybe. It's still going to be like, win. Come on, guys. What are y'all doing? Mm-hmm. And their floor, I mean, barring injury, which we don't assume injury here, unless it's warranted. Some teams are just more, are more injury prone than others, obviously. But barring injury, I mean, I don't see how this team wins less than 11 games. I mean, this team has to have the highest floor of any team we have talked about up to this point.
Yeah, like their floor is like the teams were our teams. We were saying that is their their ceiling.
They are just they're in another stratosphere, and it's the Bills and the Chiefs. They figure out how to get past those guys, and they have the guys to do it. I mean, they have. There's no question.
They blew out the Bills.
They did
earlier in the year in Week 4, 35-10, blew them out. It was at home, but still 35-10 at home.
Well, and it just speaks like which again speaks to even more that they should have had it in 22 when they lost the AFC Championship at home, but never. Well, actually, I'm sorry, that was 23 when they lost the 2023 AFC Championship at home. But it's if they can get that 1 seed and they're always on the board for it, dude, like there's nobody that can stop them except maybe Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And you just, I mean, you're going to have to beat them. Like Baltimore, you can hope that you can go around them, but you're going to face Josh Allen or you're going to face Patrick Mahomes. Like that's going to be what happens.
Maybe Joe.
Yeah,
maybe Joe, but
Joe. And they got Joe's number, but hey, Joe in the playoffs, dude is a monster. Dude is an animal.
Joe and dude, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we're about to talk. Yeah, so we'll talk about them in a little bit. But anyway, yeah, they're going to go 12-5, 13-4. It's going to be what they do. Also, last note.
That in.
Yeah, kind of insensitive that the NFL is making them open up for the second year in a row against a team that ended their season the year before. So that's the last note.
Good television. Look, but that's a hell of a Sunday night game. Like,
I'm excited.
I know that sucks. But to end Week 1 on Baltimore at Bills, that is chef's kiss right there.
It's amazing. So I'm excited for that. But
they do get a gimme in Week 2. They play the Browns.
Well, I mean, it's a gimme, but it's not because the Browns do have a good defense and they built their team to beat Lamar. So it's like, well, I mean, it's just. That's tough. Anyway, with that, we can move on to our second place team. It's not the Cincinnati Bengals, Christian, so you might want to change your tabs up. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. They somehow won 10 games last year. I don't know if everybody remembers that. But, yeah, they were in the playoffs, if y'all forgot that as well. Lost to the Ravens.
They do that, too.
And to be honest, Christian, look, I really pride ourselves on how much analysis we bring, right? Because, like, we're not just listing off depth charts. Like, we're able to go in. We're talking about what these players bring, what they do, etc. And I feel like we're pretty good at it. This is going to be, and the other teams might be a little bit like this as well. There's really not going to be much player analysis. I mean, I feel like this is about to be 20 minutes of us just complaining about the Steelers and what they are.
I am so ready to complain.
All right, so I'll go first complaining, and then I'll let you complain. So my first complaint. What is so funny about this team to me is you remember like 5 years ago when that Mike Tomlin stat like first kind of cropped up and everybody's like, hey, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. And everybody was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Mike Tomlin is so good. He's never had a losing – man, that just really speaks to how good of a coach Mike Tomlin is. And now 5 years later, nobody cares. Nobody cares about that. They're just like, yeah, dude, okay. It's like embarrassing. Now, I'm going to read you off their record since 2018. 9-6-1, 8-8, 12-4, which was the year they were like 11-0 or something, and everyone was like, whatever. Yeah, we don't care. We don't care. 9-7-1, 9-8, and then back-to-back 10-7 seasons. So, I also wanted to say, in case you're sleeping on the Steelers, because you probably are.
I'm snoring.
They have, well, I'll wake you up then, Christian. They have the second most playoff appearances of any team since 2014.
And how many playoff victories since then?
I think they got one.
One since 2016?
Yeah. But second most in the league appearances. I feel like you could start like a fake news account and just spread Steelers propaganda and be like, people who don't pay attention to the sport be like, did you know the Steelers are actually second most playoff appearances since 2014? People are like, well, shit, the Steelers sound like a dog of a team. Like, they sound great. No. All right, Christian, that's my first complaint. I'll let you give a complaint now.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What is the plan here? We're just building it feels like the greatest hits, like from an artist that like recently passed away, and this is the album for the company to release and do their greatest hits just to get some money. Because like,
damn, that's tough.
Because like because what is this to Aaron Rodgers, Darius Slay, Robert Woods, DK Metcalf, Jalen Ramsey they traded for. So I'm just like what is this? What is the plan here? Because it seems like there's not been a plan since Ben Roethlisberger when did he retire? And it's just been, all right. Now look, I'll give him a little credit. They went out, drafted Kenny Pickett, didn't work out, and just from then on, and they were dealing with like Matt Canada and stuff like that. But then on, they've just been doing retread after retread on quarterbacks. Like they got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson last year.
Yes,
dangerous. I think the year before, who did they trot out? Was it Kenny Pickett? And then it was Mason Rudolph.
Well, they drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round, and it just didn't work.
And I just like, when are they gonna wake up and realize, hey, look, the Pittsburgh Steelers are perennial or like a cornerstone of the NFL. Like, this is a historic franchise. And look, I get it. Like, we're the Steelers. We don't need a tank. But my God, at some point, man, I'm not saying tank, but like, you got to put yourself in a position to get one of these. I mean, the as we've said, this quarterback class, I heard it's deep. I don't know how good it's going to be. I think next week we're going to start getting college football games. So, those are going to start ramping up, and who's going to be looking like the top prospects. But they need a quarterback. And like, you just can't keep running these old dude. Like, Aaron Rodgers is going to be 40, 41, 42.
Look it up, but yeah.
He's going to be turning 41 or 42 in the season.
Yeah, 42 in December. Yeah.
He's going to be turning 42 in like later into the season.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Like, I agree. I mean, obviously I agree with everything you said. Like, there's nothing to disagree with. It's a real shame what they're doing. Like, it's very Cowboys-esque, Packers-esque, but it's like that to the extreme, where it's like, we literally refuse to be bad at all costs, even if it means we will never be good. But like, they're also reinforcing a very outdated identity when they do it, right? Like, so here's some stats for everybody. These past 2 years, right, they went 10-7. This data comes from Warren Sharp, so I'm just citing it right there. Some of the most insane data I've seen. The Steelers have won 10 games in each of their last 2 seasons, right? Despite having leads at halftime in only half of those wins. Now, to Warren Sharp, apparently, that has not happened since at least 2000. So teams that are trailing at halftime in a lot of their games, it's not common for teams to just come back every time, but Steelers end up winning a lot of one-score games because who knows? Who knows how they do it? I still don't know how they do it.
Amazing coaching staff.
I mean, yeah, Mike Tomlin is
I
legit.
love Mike Tomlin.
But here's another stat for you. And this is about their offense right here. There have been 61 teams in the past 5 years to win 10 or more games in a season. the Steelers, in both of these years, 2022 or 2023 and 2024, they were near the bottom of the list in terms of yard per play, success rate, and EPA in offense. They were like ranked 59th and 60th or something like I mean, something crazy in all of those stats. Now, I won't rattle off all the stats. It goes a lot deeper, but like you look at the indications of this team, this should be a 6 or 7 win team. I mean, based off of the product, based off of the statistical data, like everything about them should be a 6 or 7 win team, and they keep squeezing out these 9 or 10 win seasons. But then you go, okay, well, address your offense. Address your offense. They used 5 of their 7 draft picks on defense again this year.
They're the number 1 team in defensive spending.
And the bulk of their big contracts went to defensive players this offseason to just add. I mean, they're like doubling down on this identity. And look, in their defense, they drafted Will Howard in the middle of the draft. So maybe we drafted Will Howard. Like, okay, yeah, you got me. You drafted a backup quarterback. You drafted a backup quarterback. That's fair. And I mean, the other guy was Caleb Johnson, who Caleb Johnson's probably going to be this whole offense. Him and Jonnu Smith and a little bit of Jalen Warren.
And there you go, Arthur Smith and Jonnu Smith. You just can't quit him.
For sure.
Played with him in Tennessee too.
I mean, it's just embarrassing. And look, it's not to say this team doesn't have talent. Their defensive line is the best in the league. I mean, it's the best in the league. Like, it's ridiculous how good it is. I mean, you have Alex Highsmith, you have Cam Hayward, a little guy named TJ Watt, I'm sure some of us have heard of. And then the first round pick, it's like, you get a receiver? Nope. You get a quarterback? Nope. What'd you get? We got another defensive tackle. Like, what are we doing? Derek Harmon. I mean, and he comps really well to Cam Hayward, so I mean, this is the spot for him, but it's just like, guys, what are we doing here? And again, like, I don't even need to talk about bringing in Aaron Rodgers, bringing in DK Metcalf, who I mean, just nothing against DK Metcalf. Like, I'm sure DK Metcalf's a cool guy, but like, I just feel like the more, like, as time goes on, I just like DK Metcalf less and less as a receiver. Like,
okay, yeah, that's fair.
He third round pick, I mean, he was a crazy specimen of a player, and he was really good for, he had a couple years in the sun where he was really good, but like, he's literally George Pickens upgraded kind of to a degree, a little bit. I mean, obviously
less antics.
Yeah, the antics and not as bad, obviously, but like, it's just, I don't get the vision. This team is just, at some point, I need a 5-year plan, y'all. I need a 2-year plan. Like, I will take a 2-year plan, but it's just literally like anything we could do to get those 9 wins squeezed out of a roster that really has no business winning 9 games outside of our amazing defensive line. That's just, I don't know. And look, they got Jalen Ramsey. They got Darius Slay. Like, they got some dudes in the secondary, I guess. Juan Thornhill is chilling back there, but I'm so sad about this team.
I was asking a buddy of mine at where I work, and he's a Steelers fan. And I was like, yeah, dude, like, we're talking about the Steelers today, and like, yeah, how do you think? And he's like, yeah, we got a pretty solid team and all that, but I'm like, dog, y'all are so old. He's like, well, we add pieces here and there, but I'm like, yeah, but you're adding pieces here and there, but like, you're not looking towards the future. Like, what? You're probably going to get Aaron Rodgers for what? This year? Maybe if he plays well, you'll get a 1 more deal out of that, but like, then he'll be 42.
It's a stopgap
next year, and like, we're back at the same spot we were we've been at. Like, they've just been stuck and refused to advance into the new modern. Like, it's just offensive line I'm not in love with. I mean, I'm just like, is this even gonna work out? Like, with Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers and and that kind of stuff. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm not very hopeful for it. They're gonna get 9-10 wins. They're gonna win a game where we think they shouldn't. Like you said, they haven't been leading in most of the games that they won. So that's gonna happen, and then they'll maybe finally get out of the wild card round, and then lose to one of the big boys, Baltimore, Buffalo. If Cincinnati get their head out of their ass, that'll happen. And then there's just the cycle is just going to continue until the Roonies wake up,
or until we die, whichever comes first.
Till we die.
No, I mean, I don't even. I think this team is this offense. Obviously, again, the defense is gonna be good.
Elite.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a top 8 defense minimum. I mean,
as long as they stay healthy, they got a lot of dudes out there.
Yeah, but this offense, I mean, this offensive line is not good. It is one of the NFL's youngest offensive lines, and you have a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers who is not mobile anymore. I mean, you can't.
And he needs an offensive line.
Needs one. I mean, can you protect him? I don't think you can, and you also. I don't love the prospects of who he's throwing to. The only thing I love about this offense is, like, I think this running game with Caleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren could be pretty good. I mean, I think it could be pretty good.
That's what they'll do.
And if it's a top 12 running game, awesome. Good stuff. But, like, a top 12 running game behind a bad offensive line and a passing game that leaves a lot to be desired. Not even necessarily, like, even if we say Aaron Rodgers is going to be great, he's about to have his last run and it's going to be great. Like, who's he throwing to? He's throwing to DK Metcalf? I mean, he's throwing to Roman Wilson? Like, I just don't see it.
Hey, you sleeping on my boy Calvin Austin the third.
Well, yeah, they got Calvin Austin the third, 2022 4th round pick, like, that's pretty good.
I do like their tight ends. I like Freiermuth, and Jonnu Smith had great production for Miami last year. I mean, he was the only good player on offense, really. And then we traded him. So I like that. They'll be really good. It's going to be interesting to see. I do think Aaron Rodgers does like throwing to his tight ends a little bit. And Arthur Smith loves Jonnu Smith, so he going to have some plays for him. So it's going to be fun.
All right, Christian, let's move on to the ceiling and the floor. I look, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be bold. Okay? Their floor, 9-8. Their ceiling, 10-7.
Yeah.
No, in all
maybe
seriousness.
11-6, maybe.
I'll make 11-6 their floor. I think this could go bad. Like I think the lack of.
I don't believe that.
7-10 is their floor, in my opinion. 7-10.
I don't look. We've been saying it, and then, we've been saying it. Like,
this is it.
This is where they're gonna bottom out. This is
Lizard,
where they're gonna bottom out.
Lizard.
And they just don't. So I mean, 8 and 9. I'll put it 8-9 as their floor. I'll put it I don't think it's gonna happen. I think they're gonna go 9-8, and they're gonna get a win randomly, and you're gonna be like, how did they win that game? Like,
all right, they won that game. I forgot.
But they'll be. Yeah, 10-7. I'll put the ceiling at maybe 11-6.
I will say this in their defense. Last year, we talked about how, man, this schedule on the back half of the season, the hardest possible schedule. Like, last year, it was all about how, that's the most brutal back half schedule ever. Oh, my gosh, how can anybody win? This is the year it ends. They just can't win those games. And they still found 10-7. Like, they still did it with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
And they lost their four last games.
They started out well. So, anyway, I think that's really all I got there. I don't know. Do you have anything else on this team? I don't even feel like we analyzed this team. I just feel like we ranted about our disappointment in this team for 18 minutes.
Yeah, that was about it. Yeah, that's what we did. I mean, okay. Oh, I will say this.
Okay.
Now, my dream scenario. All right, hear me out. Now, maybe they go 9-8 or whatever, or maybe they just have a terrible season. Maybe the Roonies, hopefully Roonies just wake up and be like, you know what? I think this isn't working. So they cut ties. Miami doesn't have a great season. We get Mike McDaniel out of there.
Oh, my gosh.
Chris Greer. We bring old Mike Tomlin in to Miami. Now, that is my dream scenario for this entire season. Is Mike Tomlin because I was banging on this last year. I said last year if Mike Tomlin didn't have a great season, I think the Rooneys should mutually uh, separate. But they're running it back again. If it doesn't work out again, because I mean, let's be honest, like the Pittsburgh Steelers are on a list they shouldn't be on for longest playoff drought win. You don't want to be on that list. The Pittsburgh Steelers should not be on this list.
No, not at all. And yeah, I mean, at some point, like, you know, everybody wants to talk about Mike Tomlin, but like Omar Khan has been their GM since 2022. I mean, at some point, at some point, we're gonna have to look up and go, dude, what do you like? Are we gonna ever like, you know, he's coming out like we really addressed our offense this year, and it's like, I don't think you did it well. I mean, sure. Oh, well, we got a new quarterback. We got a new receiver. We got a new running back.
That was a layup. Like, he was the only guy out there.
Dude, you're not convincing me. Like, I'm sorry. This is not – you did not do a good job stacking this offense. You can't convince me otherwise. And you should – again, 5 of your 7 draft picks went to defense when you have glaring holes on your offense. So, I don't buy it. All right, with that, we can move on to another disappointing team, the Cincinnati Bengals. Christian, look, off the rip, I have grown up very much disliking the Cincinnati Bengals. You've known this from the years we've done this podcast. I just have no respect for their organization. I think they are a poorly ran organization. I think they're
even Bengals fans don't know like they're.
I think they are a joke of an organization. I think they are a cheap organization, and I think they have had some really great quarterbacks come through there in recent decades, namely Carson Palmer, who they just wasted his career. And now you're seeing with Joe Burrow. I mean, they have a legitimate Hall of Famer in Joe Burrow, a potential Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer yet, obviously, and you have missed the playoffs with him for 2 years straight now, despite the fact that he literally, all he has to do is make the playoffs, and he's probably the MVP of the league last year. I mean, he was that good. 43 touchdowns. I mean, he was superb. He was sensational to 9 interceptions. Jamar Chase, Triple Crown winner. And despite that, he doesn't have a good offensive line. His defense was literally the worst in the NFL last year. I mean, I wish I'd pulled this up. That stat, something about how like a team has never lost as many games as they had lost scoring like 30 points or something like that. They broke that record or something this year. I mean, it's something insane. And they go into this offseason. They build their team like a 4-year-old, got their hands on Madden, and just jacked up the contracts to absurd amounts. Jamar Chase, fair game. Should have paid him. Jamar Chase is one of the 2 best receivers in the league. He's the Triple Crown winner. Totally fine with Jamar Chase getting paid. Then you gave T. Higgins $28 million.
Yeah. Did not like that. That was not smart.
Your defense was horrible. Your only good player on defense, the only player that really like was elite last year on your defensive side of the ball.
Pissing him off.
You're just like, we don't want to pay you, bro. We don't want to pay you. Like, what are you doing? We also fired Lou Anarumo, which, you know, some people might support that.
Disagree.
I hated that. I hated that. And look, they went and got Al Golden from Notre Dame, so, you know, they're optimistic that maybe he can step it up. But, like, Lou Anarumo's problem, if he had a problem, was he was just stubborn with the personnel. That's about it. I mean, like, at base, they did not give him the personnel to succeed. Now, again, if you want to say, like, he was slow in taking out some players and moving some players around, fine, fair game. But that is, you had one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and he was not able to do anything with the team you were giving him. They drafted some good defensive players back in the day. We remember Jesse Bates, and let him walk. It's just, I really hope this doesn't turn into a similar thing like we just did with the Steelers. But, man, dude, this team really frustrates me. And you have a quarterback as great as Joe Burrow, and they're just wasting his prime.
Yeah, I agree that. And just to, like, you know, just to top it all off, they took them, like, months to shine their first round pick Shamar Stewart from Texas A&M. Took them a long time to get him signed up. And I know there's probably a bit of bad, like it, money kind of heals all, but I bet still like you had that void in his contract. Even though I think he was a player that had no off the field issues, and you had a stipulation in there that if he did anything wrong, they could just void his contract. Like, what are you doing there? Like, that is so backhanded and just so disrespectful. Like, and how is that? This is a guy you drafted in the first round. This is a guy you're expecting. The best thing that you can expect from this player is that he's a future Hall of Famer for your franchise, and that is how you treated him with his first contract in the NFL. That's just disrespectful.
Well, to be fair, he had a lot of off the field issues.
Okay, my bad. I retract that statement.
Oh wait, no, he didn't. It's just I don't even know. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, you have an offensive line that has a lot of players coming off some horrible years. Orlando Brown Jr. was not good last year. Amarius Mims going into his second year, their first round pick in 24, was not good last year. I mean, Lucas Patrick, they brought him from free agency. Okay, maybe.
They needed some guard play.
And Ted Karras, I mean, look, I like Ted Karras. He's probably the bright spot on this offensive line at this point. But Ted Karras is going to be, I mean, how old? He's 32 years old. I mean, he's an older player now. I mean, he is past his prime. If that's your best player, and then of course they brought in Dylan Fairchild, their third round rookie this year. It's just, I mean, this offense, this team is literally just Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. And look, they got Chase Brown. Chase Brown is a fantasy dream. Everybody loves Chase Brown if you're playing fantasy. And Chase Brown is not bad. Like, Chase Brown is a solid running back. They do have Mike Gesicki, who, Mike Gesicki was awesome 5 years ago, but he's not really good anymore. Or he's not like upper tier.
They brought in Tajay Brooks from Texas Tech. Pro Football Focus says it's a rookie to watch, so he could be in. They could be interesting there with their running back room, but yeah, it's Joe Burrow or bust.
And we could talk about the defense too. I mean, look, Trey Hendrickson. We'll see what happens there. They're now fielding trade offers for Trey Hendrickson, first round picks, a young defensive player. Like, we'll see what happens there. But I mean, now you're talking about,
you do that, you're missing they're definitely missing the playoffs. They trade Trey Henderson, I guarantee they miss the playoffs again.
Well, and this is the thing that's so unfortunate is you don't really have years to be stepping back. You can't, like, we talk about the Panthers, right? We talk about the Bears, where it's like, look, we just kind of want to see your offense progress. You're Michael Penix at the Falcons, right? Your defense, if it's bad, it's bad as long as your young quarterbacks come together, right? That's not the Bengals. Joe Burrow's not a young quarterback anymore. Joe Burrow's been an elite quarterback since he basically walked into the league. Like, and you gave Jamar Chase all this money. You gave T. Higgins all this money. You're paying a lot of money to Joe Burrow. Like, you are in a win-now mode. Like, there is no such thing. These contracts are only going to get crazier and crazier and crazier. And taking a year off, essentially, with your defense because it's just bad all over the place. I mean, again, like, They drafted Demetrius Knight in the second round. That should maybe help their linebacking core. They got Oren Burks, but Oren Burks, he's been more of a special teams player than anything. Like, BJ, I mean, we're getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, I like BJ Hill. Like, what am I? Like, I like BJ Hill, but come on. This is crazy. This is just
one of the better players on the defensive line.
I mean, this is irresponsible. It's so embarrassing. I wish, again, everybody listening, I wish I had more analysis. If you want analysis, we got plenty of episodes you can go listen to, but I'm just so upset with this because, again, I saw this happen with Carson Palmer, and I think Carson Palmer was a really good quarterback. He had a couple of elite level seasons. I don't know if Carson Palmer would have been an all-time great had he ended up in a better system, but, like, you are literally watching an all-time great quarterback have their career wasted because their organization is inept. And it's so tough, I have to imagine, if you're Joe Burrow, because you're looking across your division and you see Lamar Jackson. And look, we just got done talking about how the Ravens need to get to the past the hump, and they need to. But the Ravens are talking about, man, if we don't win a Super Bowl this year, like what would Joe Burrow give to be having that conversation? Where you're perpetually going to the playoffs, you're perpetually winning MVP. Lamar's got 2 MVPs. He's got 2 MVPs because he's not only had great statistical years, but he's gone to the playoffs and gone deep, where Joe Burrow has not done that. He's done that, but he hasn't put that all together in the one season, right? And you got a guy who got you to the Super Bowl after getting sacked 70 times, and you just cannot support him. It's gross. It's gross. And
it's gross. It's just gross.
It's gross.
It is. It is.
Well, and it really, like, because when I was a kid, they had Marvin Lewis forever. Marvin Lewis was their coach forever. And I used to sit here and go, why does Marvin Lewis still have a job? And I did not understand it. But then the more I learned and the more I realized, oh, wait, his organization is not good. His organization does not help him that much. Like, that's why Marvin Lewis is actually not a bad coach. He's actually kind of keeping this whole thing, like, he's keeping them pretty relevant, all things told. I don't know how good of a coach Zach Taylor is. I really don't.
I do think Zach Taylor on the hot seat, ?
Yeah, probably. If they get off to a slow start again.
He's playing his guys in the preseason. He's been talking about in the preseason, like, we need to change things up when you get to a fast start, and he's playing his guys in the preseason. So, like, I think he even feels the pressure a little bit, and that's what hurt. That is what hurt him last year. If you go look at their season, they started 1-4. Excuse me, lost to the unexcusable loss to the Patriots week 1. Then you play Kansas City, play them tough, just couldn't get it done. You lose to Washington. Controversy. Washington 38-33 loss. Beat Carolina, and then you lost to overtime to Baltimore. And you look, and this has just been a common theme throughout. They're 4-7 in the past since 2022 in the month of September alone.
It's
4-7.
Yeah. And again, like, when you're going 9-8, like they have the past couple years, those games at the beginning of the season are what kill you. Those are the things that cost you your season. Even if you go on a 5-game win streak at the end of the year, like they did this past season, like you dig yourself into a hole and you are looking up at that hole the entire time. So with that in mind, Christian, we can keep talking about this team. I don't really have too much else to add. We could talk. The offensive line, one of the worst in the league. Their receiving core is literally among the best in the league. Like, I'll give them
number one,
that.
probably. Yeah,
I will give them. It's.
They have two. They have 2 number ones.
I'll give them that. Their defensive line is poor. They generated pressure on just 27.7% of plays without blitzing in 2024, which a lot of 7s and 2s, 27th in the league. They lost Sam Hubbard.
It was funny because I was listening to the Brett Coleman podcast, and, like, in EPA wise, they weren't bad, but they weren't generating, like, they weren't getting sacks or TFLs in, the early downs.
Yeah.
So offenses didn't really have to adjust. Offenses didn't have to, like, they could just stay on schedule. They were constantly facing 2nd and mediums and 3rd and shorts. They couldn't stop anybody.
And I will say this, their linebackers are pretty decent. I'll give them that. Like, Logan Wilson was hurt last year. He had a knee injury, so he's coming back. As I talked about, Demetrius Knight. So if that pairing works well, I think they could get some help. And maybe, Oren Burks, like, again, like, he was playing on the Eagles, so he was a little buried in those depth charts a little bit with what they were doing over there. So maybe he's going to step in and just be a revelation for them. Who knows? He was decent in some of the minimum kind of play time he got at that linebacker position. So, yeah, So with that in mind, Christian, here we are. This is what we're doing here. What is their ceiling and what is their floor?
I mean, floor, probably 8-9, 9-8.
Wow.
Missing the playoffs.
Okay.
I still think, I mean, it's really banking on, can their new defensive coordinator, Al Gordon, fix it up? And probably Joe's not going to have, MVP type season, but he's still going to be very good and he's still going to be talked about. Like, we're still going to talk about Joe Burrow and all the amazing stuff he will do this year. Like, he's great again versus the pressure. He's just overall awesome and the reason to watch the Bengals. And ceiling, making the playoffs, and you can probably make the playoffs 10-7, but 11-6, maybe 12-5. Get into the postseason.
Okay, I feel that. I mean, look, I hear what you're saying about Al Golden. I am hopeful that Al Golden is going to step in and take over for Lou Enron. Again, I didn't like to see Lou go, but like, if you found Al Golden is a decent replacement. I mean, I think that could work. But
they're really good Notre Dame last year.
Yeah, you just need to get him the guys. And look, I'm gonna sit here and trash. Look, I will be complimentary here for a second, okay? Because I will talk about the fact they did, unlike the Steelers, who, hey, Steelers, your offense is bad. Yeah, that's why we drafted defensive players. They did draft defensive players. Like, they went and drafted, as we've talked about, Shamar Stewart. They went and drafted Demetrius Knight. Like, they went and drafted, Dylan Fairchild in the third. So, like, those are their first, second, and third round picks. And obviously Dylan Fairchild's a guard, but, like, at least they're doing that, At least they're like, hey, we can only get cheap talent because we're paying these guys. Let's actually go spend our cheap talent at the places we have holes. So I give them that. Like, that's a positive. There you go, Cincinnati. Don't come and flame me for hating on you too much. I gave you that. Ceiling and floor, I just don't see how this team wins 11 games. Like, I want to say 11-6. That's my gut instinct. I'll say 11-6. They got Joe Burrow. If he lights it up. And look, I'll say this. I'll say this too. How about this?
Kind of got not a bad schedule.
The Cowboys, they had historically one of the worst defenses in the history of the sport in 2013. Okay? They got rid of DeMarcus Ware that offseason. And it was like, oh my God. Not only did we already have one of the worst defenses with DeMarcus Ware, now we don't have DeMarcus Ware. And look, 2014, they were not a great defense, but they were serviceable. And our offense behind DeMarco Murray, we went and won 12 games. It was a really good year for us in the regular. So, like, the past is not destiny. Okay, so maybe there's going to be something here that we see. Maybe, even if they lose Trey Hendrickson, maybe they go get some picks, which they need. They need picks bad. Maybe they get a decent starter to fill in some holes for them, and maybe they're 20th in defense. Which 20th, that's an improvement. That's a massive improvement. 20th in defense and 4th, top 5, whatever you want to put it, in offense. That's an 11-win team. And y'all were close to beating the Ravens twice last year. So, you convert one of those into a win. You take care of business against the Browns. You don't blow one to the Steelers. Like, I mean, it's possible. It's possible.
They might have been in the playoffs. They didn't lose week 1.
It's true.
They didn't lose to the Patriots. They could have been. Or not.
It's true. So, all right. Well, anything else? Anything else from you on the Bengals? I don't really have anything else.
No, not really. Joe Burrow's amazing. Just like,
love Joe Burrow.
And Joe Burrow, we trust.
Joe, we trust. All right, Christian, we got one more team. I won't lie to you. I'm a lot sadder than I was when we started this podcast. I'm genuinely kind of sad here. I feel like we're tearing apart these teams.
They did it to themselves. I have no remorse for this team.
I mean, and yeah, we're ending on the team of teams to end on. The Cleveland Browns. Boy,
Just named their quarterback starter.
Joe Flacco is starting for them, so we have a little more clarity now.
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
Look, I don't know if Shedeur Sanders is going to be good, but I am so excited for when he finally does get a chance to start. And look, I'll say this. Unless Joe Flacco comes out here and just lights up the league, and it's like, oh man, the Browns are actually like really good this year. They have no business not playing Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders. You can leave Kenny Pickett on the bench. We know what Kenny Pickett is, but
Kenny Pickett.
Cut Kenny Pickett. Yeah, who cares? But like, this is not going to be a good year. So you have a duty to try out the quarterbacks that you have in there. And if you spend it all on just Joe Flacco, which again, I don't think they will. Like, but I'm just saying they better not. They better not be in week 14 sitting there at 3-10 and trotting Joe Flacco out there. Like, they better not be. Or even by that point, it'd be too late. I'd be like, guys, y'all should have done this 6 weeks ago.
I'll give an official prediction when we get into predictions, but I'll predict when Joe Flacco will be benched or not starting the game.
That's a little fun, zany prediction. But yeah, I mean, so let's talk about this team really quick. The best thing we got out of 2024 was the Jameis Winston experience for 12 games, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, baby. Yeah. But they were not good on offense, and they were bad on defense. I think the biggest thing defensively for this team was obviously in 2023, we were talking about how historically good this defense was. Their secondary lost its mind. Just absolutely lost its mind. I have no idea what happened.
Newsom did not play well. Cameron Mitchell didn't play well. I get their best. Denzel Ward had a solid season last year.
I mean, it was a very bizarre. I mean, and even like Martin Emerson. Like Martin Emerson had a really good year in 2023, and then in 2024 was just bad. So obviously at the defense, at the linebacker, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, aka JOK, is out for season with a neck injury that he sustained in the middle of the season last year. They did bring in Mason Graham, so pairing well on the defensive line. He'll be interior D-line where Myles Garrett will be an edge rusher, but, pretty good. I love Malik Collins, big Malik Collins fan. I was happy. I loved him on the Cowboys. I thought he was really good on the Texans. So, they still got a solid player in Malik Collins. And then they have a second-round pick in Mike Hall, who was suspended last year for the first 5 games, but he'll be back this year. So, second-round pick, you got to hope that that can work. They were not good at stopping the run last year. They allowed the 5th most rushing yards. They were middle of the pack in yards per carry, so if you want to hang your hat on that, that's fine. But hopefully, again, Mason Graham kind of helps shore that up. Yeah, I don't know, Christian. I'm kind of just all over the place on this, talking about the defense, which to me, again, was the most shocking thing. That was the unit that was so amazing 2 years ago. And to see it just be awful this past year, was shocking. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the Cleveland Browns going into 2025?
Not good.
No.
Not very good. I mean, like you said at the top, I'd be shocked if Joe Flacco lasts more than 2.5 months. Like you said, if we're in week 14 and we're trotting out Joe Flacco versus the Tennessee Titans, I'd be pissed off if I was a Cleveland Browns fan, because you have to see what you got in your 2 quarterbacks that you drafted. Dylan Gabriel did not have a great preseason game. I know Shedeur had a calf. No, it wasn't calf. It was like a hamstring or something, and we didn't get to see him in his second preseason game. But you have to, once you get past like the first month or whatever, first 2 months, and Joe Flacco, the fairy dust settles, and we start getting to see Joe Flacco, then you got to get these guys in, and you got to see what they can do. I don't know if Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel are going to be, future quarterbacks in this league, but you got to see what they're going to do. I think Cleveland is in the boat to looking toward next year in 2026 and see what they can do. But because this is not, I feel like this is not going to be a good year for them.
Yeah, well, and Christian, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, if you will, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson.
He's gone. You don't really think about him that much with the Cleveland.
Well, I'll tell you what. The Browns think about him every fucking day because every day they see him at his locker and they go, "You are fucking our team up, dude. You just being here is fucking our team up." And this team,
I told you to pay him on that money.
Well, they're building for the future, right? They traded away their first round pick, Travis Hunter with the Jags, all that stuff. Got Mason Graham, got picks, etc. Right? They are currently $35 million over the cap next year.
How do you know the percent? Do you have the numbers for how much of that is Deshaun?
I do actually. I do have that. Yes.
Let me hear them.
So next year, if they this year they can't cut him. Like it's like 130 in dead cap still.
God.
Next year,
Jesus.
Next year, it's going to be $80 million as a cap hit for Deshaun Watson. $80 million for a cap hit for Deshaun Watson. And his dead cap hit is going to be $50 million if they cut him.
And nobody's going to be trading for that.
So, yeah. I mean, they're not. So, I mean, it's a fully guaranteed contract. Like, you have to pay him all the money that you gave him. I mean, they gave him a $230 million, $230 million contract, $46 million a year on average. And then they gave him, his cap hit the first couple years was low. I mean, it was $9 million year one. It was $19 million year two. Like, they're not paying him out. They're bumping it back. And now it's like, okay, now you got to pay him $34 million this year and a $1 million bonus. Next year, it's $80 million. And this year, it's not bad. This year, again, his cap number is $35 million. That's 11%. Now, that said, that is what you pay a starting quarterback. That's what you pay a top-level starting quarterback as far as your cap hit. Actually, it's not quite that. It's higher, but 11% is still a hefty amount. Next year, if they keep that $80 million cap hit, which they won't, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to extend him. They're going to have to extend him
push you down the road
and give him void years. And they're going to have to push that money back further and further and further to save their cap. So it's so bad, dude. It's so bad all around. I mean, so we talk about 2026, this team's going to start building. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be ready to start building in 2026. Maybe the move is like 2026, you get your rookie franchise quarterback, kind of what the Broncos did, right, where they went and got Bo Nix, and they had his rookie year while they're paying off Russell Wilson, and now we're going into year two, and the Broncos are fixed, basically. It's going to be tough for a couple years with this Browns salary cap situation. So, Cleveland, you just want to get cozy. You're just going to want to get cozy. I don't even. We'll talk about their skill positions next, I guess. We'll have to see if Quinshon Judkins, who, beat the case, I guess, see if he's good. A lot of people are high on Cedric Tillman going into his third year. Haven't really seen it yet. We'll see if he bursts up this year. The bright spot is if Shadur Sanders is actually really good. And if they do have a winner in Shadur Sanders, that's going to make things a lot easier for them because they're going to be able to spend their high draft picks next year on like talent to surround him with. But if he's not good, I mean, you're still going to have to get a quarterback anyway. So, Arch Manning season. If he comes out. Apparently, he might not come out, so.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Saints fans are punching and they're crying.
I saw a thing. It was like a Saints fan was reacting to that news or something, and they said, "It's okay, Arch. We'll still be there in 2027 when you do come out." And it might be true. So, anyway, I guess, I don't know. I think the hope for this team, I guess, look, let's end on a little bit of a hopeful note because we've been, I literally am
We've been tough on the AFC North.
It's been bad. It's been a tough episode, but I mean, look, we've been positive about so many other AFC West, so good. NFC North, oh my God, fork dogs, who's gonna win? And then we get to this, it's just been bad. But let's be positive. If they turn around their defense, right, their defense gets back to form. Myles Garrett is obviously still an animal. Mason Graham hits. Malik Collins is good. Their linebacking core is good. Obviously, JOK is still out, so they're still going to have that hole. But their dudes, in theory, on the secondary are good. Like, I mean, they got the personnel on paper to be like, this can be a top tier secondary, y'all. Like, y'all should be good. If their defense picks it up and they get like the 23rd best quarterback play in the league, which last year they had the worst or maybe the second worst, right? Maybe you win 8 games. And maybe you feel like you're competitive in a lot of games, and Browns fans are like, hey, at least we had some good games. Like, we didn't win a lot of them, but at least we had some. Like, I feel like that's
some guys stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's their path to, like, a decent season. I don't see this team winning any more than 8 games at its absolute ceiling. And its floor, how low you want to go. I mean, how low do you want to go? Because they literally could be
4.5.
the worst team in the league. They could be the worst team in the league this year. Like, if none of their quarterbacks hit. Which Joe Flacco would be serviceable, but
I don't think they're going to be the worst. I mean, I think the Colts are going to be on there. The Saints might be on there. I mean, I do think Joe Flacco is good enough to win them some games. Like some. Not all of them. Like, no, he's going to be solid for a few. And maybe that defense, like you said, if they can return to form, that can help them out. But yeah, no more than shit, dude. I'm gonna say 6.
Okay, so you're ceiling is super low. I'll go 8. I'll be optimistic and say 8, but like they're not winning 8.
I'll push it to 7.
Okay.
I'll push it to 7.
I mean, I think their floor could be 3 wins. And that's just because, again, Joe Flacco, like, he'll find a win here or there for them, and then if their rookies just don't work out, if their secondary is still ass, if they can't stop the run like they couldn't last year, they don't have any skill. I mean, their best receiver is Jerry Jeudy and oh, you're good. I mean, their best receiver is Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku. Like, those are their weapons. So, whatever you want to do with that.
Whatever you want to do that. Not in love with Deontay Johnson?
I forgot Deontay Johnson was on their team. That's the most casual moment I've had on this podcast. I forgot he was there. Damn.
I just happened to be looking at their roster and I saw Deontay Johnson as their slot. I was like, oh, okay, because they did lose Amari Cooper.
I'll tell you what, since we're deep into this podcast, and this is the only people that are listening to us this far are the real homies. I'll just tell this. I picked up Madden 26. I'm rebuilding the Browns. And I can't trade Deshaun. I can't get rid of Deshaun Watson. I can't get rid of him. It's so my salary cap is just screwed.
Dude, damn, that's insane. Awesome. That is awesome.
It's insane. Well,
like I can't
it's because he has an ACL tear or Achilles tear, and they're like, you can't trade him or cut him when he's got an Achilles, and I'm like, guys, I can't do anything. I can't do anything.
My hands are tied. Just telling the fans, please give me a year, and then this man will be gone.
I promise. Anyway,
I was Madden 26 because
it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly haven't played it that much. I've been so busy with the podcast, but it's been fun the little bit I've played it.
I maybe get it on sale when it goes on sale and play it.
All right, bet. Well,
get back in the franchise. I've been itching.
He's itching. Oh, you got anything else, Christian?
No, I mean, sorry to the AFC North fans. We were we were usually not this down on the division, but that's just how it just shook out. Like, this kind of division's just kind of, one point, this division was really good. This was like one of the toughest divisions in the league, and now it's just like, Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, the Bengals do have a high ceiling with Joe Burrow. You're always going to have a high ceiling there. The Ravens are obviously amazing. The Steelers, I mean, look, middle of the pack, like third place team being middle of the pack, like
middle of the pack.
The division is not bad. It's just all of these teams have in some capacity just consistently been very disappointing, and where we're just like, why aren't you better? Like, why aren't you doing more?
Why are you like this?
And I think it's just, even though, like, you look on paper and it's like pretty average division. They have an elite team. They have a borderline playoff team, a middle of the pack team, and a bad team. Like, that's the NFL. But it's just the context around them is just so sad that it invites disappointment. So anyway. All right, yo, well, we're going to get out of here. Hopefully the AFC East will be a happier episode.
One team, and it's going to be not fun.
Oh, boy.
One team is not going to be fun to talk about. I can't wait to talk about them.
Well, we'll see when we get there. But either way, everybody, we love you. We cherish you. Thank you for listening. If you want a happier episode, go listen to our NFC North. Go listen to our AFC West. NFC West was also a little happy. Both the South episodes were honestly not bad either. So go out there, check them out, see what you think. But until then, we love you. We cherish you. Thank you for listening. Please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, subscribe to us on YouTube, give us a like, give us a rating, give us a comment, share us. Love the attention, make daily NFL content. We'll catch y'all on Monday, and we'll be talking about the AFC East. So until then, everybody, deuces.